Hi y'all, Karma here. If you're new to the channel, welcome, welcome. Big warm hugs and lots of love to you. I hope that by the time this video finishes, you'll want to subscribe to our holistic healing community where we do lots of fun videos on things like herbs and crystals and sound and all kinds of fun things. If you're already a subscriber, welcome, welcome back. It's always so great to share time with you. I really appreciate those of you that are writing comments on the videos so that I get to know you as you get to know me. So this is a dose of karma video, which means that you're going to get to know a little bit more about me. So here's what we're looking at. Why am I choosing to become a naturopath? Now, I guess first you need to know a little bit about me. In the All About Karma video, the first one I did, I told you a little bit about my background. But I have a bachelor's in education where I specialized in special education with emotional handicap and behavior disorders. Of course, those terms are somewhat outdated because I got that degree a long time ago. Then I taught school for about 23 years in elementary and taught the last 13 years in a little schoolhouse that was 28 kids, K through 8, almost like Little House on the Prairie. And during that time, I got my master's in counseling, and I specialized in play and phytotherapy for children because of my school teaching. And play therapy, most people would know about. A 5-year-old can't sit down and go, these things are really bothering me. So it's storytelling and different ways to help with counseling with children. And then phytotherapy is actually you teach the parents how to facilitate play therapy with their child at home so that they can continue with that therapy and hopefully eventually take it on themselves. I'm a believer that as a counselor, you should be giving people tools so that they can learn, and they may need to revisit counseling at some point in their life, but really you should be giving them the tools they need to handle most things as they go through life, especially if they have other support systems in place. So then, during that time, I got my EMT firefighter and worked as a firefighter and EMT for, really actively for about 20 years. And then during that time, I started my own safety company. And it's an American Heart Association training center for BLS, ACLS, and PALS. We train instructors who then train other people in the workplace, all the healthcare providers and such. And then I'm an OSHA instructor out of UCSD. So all that professional stuff out of the way. So all of that kind of led me towards, my whole life I've always really been drawn towards natural healing, towards herbs, crystals, those kinds of things. And so as I've learned and grown, those things have become more important to me. I've seen the power. I made some herbal ointments that have just been incredible. I mean, so much better than I ever thought that anything would work, better than any of the prescriptions I had. And so it's kind of really made me into a believer in naturopathy. And so I started my naturopath program. COVID kind of put it on hold for a while because I didn't want to go to Las Vegas in the convention center to take my national test in the middle of everything. So I'm going to start the whole course over again. And some of the videos I do with you guys are going to be topics that I'm learning and discussing there. So today I wanted to talk just a little bit about what is a naturopath and why am I choosing to do that. So I hope you find some of it interesting. We'll see. This video may not get watched at all. So first off, phytotherapy, which is basically the use of herbs to treat people, you're using whole plants or parts of plants to treat people. Now, holistic medicine, basically, they see health as a complete state. So emotional, physical, spiritual, all of those things are combined to make that whole person a whole. So when you go to a doctor now, you tell them your signs and symptoms. They look at just what's going on medically, physically with you. Sometimes if it's dealing with stress and stuff and you have a good doctor, they may talk about, hey, how are you feeling? Are you feeling depressed? And they may deal with some of the emotional things that go along with it. But you really don't see a doctor usually getting into anything spiritual or that kind of thing. So, and social well-being as well. So they don't just see health as the absence of a disease. A naturopath sees health as a holistic whole, the person whole by themselves. And this is actually who the World Health Organization defines health, is actually more of a naturopathic view, which is interesting. So, a naturopath holds a deep respect to the person's capacity for self-healing. So we don't believe that the herbs we're giving you or the tinctures that you're taking, that those themselves are healing you per se. We believe in looking again at that holistic body, looking at what's weakened in the body and supporting the system with the things it needs to heal itself so that the body can be in its healthy homeostasis. Because of that, they see that healing is an active partnership between the naturopath and the client. So it's not just the naturopath saying, here, take these pills or take this herb or drink this tea. It's actually working with that client in that holistic aspect to set goals in their life and work with them on the goals that they want to achieve. They see illness, naturopaths see illness as an opportunity for self-discovery. So it's to learn about your body, to learn about what's happening, to learn how to be healthier. Another really important thing is that a naturopath believes that the patient's health is more important than their beliefs or their viewpoint. So I should know all of the different tools that are available to naturopaths, and just because I'm not skilled in it doesn't mean that I shouldn't be able to look at my patient's well-being first and suggest to them what's best for them or what resonates best with them. So what is an herb? Well, many define herbs depending on the framework, depending on the organization, the profession that you're looking at. So for our purposes, as an herb, like often herbs are considered non-barky plants and stuff like that, flowering plants and those kinds of things. But in our herbalism and in naturopathy, we do use the barks of trees and such. So when we're talking about herbalism, we're talking about a more general aspect, anything that someone would take as a medicine. The individual is the core of the therapeutic ecology. So it's that individual we're looking at, which is how I felt as a counselor too. If I had someone in, I'm going to look at their religious beliefs, their background. That's why in this channel it's so important to me that everyone feels comfortable. That, if you're Christian, that you can see that I see Christ was a great teacher and have great respect for the Christian teachings. I just want everyone to feel comfortable. I have a Buddha on there. I want everyone to take whatever we're doing, whatever practice, and frame it the way they want to frame it with their intention. To me, it's all magic. But I just watched a great video that I totally agree with. Magic, to me, magic is just something that science hasn't proven yet. Before, when someone would use herbs and heal someone, it would be seen as magic. But now we're starting to learn with science the properties of the herbs and why they heal people. So it's magical because we're dealing with live plants and it's the magic of live medicine. But in the same token, it's not as mysterious per se. And say when a pagan says they're practicing magic or that something happened, they put their intention in, they did their spell, and their intention came to fruition, they would say that's magic. If you're a Christian, you would say a prayer with an intention, and if that prayer became fulfilled, then you would see that as a miracle. Now, I'm not discounting that, who you're praying to is an important aspect of that ideology, but that's what makes it so personal. That's what makes it okay for you to do, because I don't want anyone to do any practices that I'm teaching and feel like they're going against any of their religious belief systems or things that they hold dear to themselves. So in the videos that I do, if you see things in there that you were able to adapt, please add that in the comments so that other people see it as well. Medicine we're going to call anything that's ingested for healing purposes. So with the herbs and the tinctures and that kind of thing. We do have to be a little bit careful with terms. Remember, I am not a doctor, and I do put the disclaimer on all my videos. Please, if you're trying new herbs or something like that, either really research them carefully or talk to your physician, because there could be contraindications in other prescriptions that you're taking that you don't want to take that herb for. There's certain herbs that are bad for pregnant women or people with high blood pressure. So really do your research, and I'll try the best I can to put disclaimers and make sure that you know some of those contraindications, but always, always do complete research. What I'm teaching you here is for educational purposes only. I'm just learning. I don't know that I'll ever feel completely accomplished, because there's just so much to learn in this field. Body work. So body work is any manipulative therapy like chiropractic, massage, or even surgery. Surgery would come under a body work. So when we're talking about holistic healing and I talk about body work, it could be anywhere, even up to surgery, anything that manipulates or uses the body. So this is with the individual, I guess where I'm coming from here. With the individual, these are the things that are important. So the medicine, anything ingested, the body work, the psychology, and the spiritual techniques. So the body work I already went over. The psychology, that would be anything like psychotherapy, psychology, or some form to address their emotional needs. Now, this doesn't mean that everyone needs to go to therapy in order to be a whole person, although that might be helpful for you. It could be meditation. It could be sound therapy, listening to music with subliminal messages. I've been doing that to really improve my mood, and it's been helping a lot. I play it at night, one with a dark screen on YouTube. Good stuff. With the spiritual techniques, now this could be meditation as well. It could be prayer. It could be energy work. It could be supporting them in any religious beliefs that they have. So I worked some with indigenous people and the Native Americans in the area, and some of them still held on to a lot of the religious beliefs and practices. So if we needed to get a medicine man involved or look at some of those traditional practices to help them, we could do that. Some of them don't find that valuable, have moved on to other belief systems, or don't have a belief system like that per se. So when I say religion, what about the person who's the atheist, or the person who lives more mindful living and minimalistic, but doesn't necessarily follow a religious practice, doesn't consider themselves religious per se? We could just be talking about the dogmatic freedom of being alive, of being mindful and enjoying life. So it's whatever brings meaning to that person's life. So when we're looking at an individual as the therapeutic ecology, we're going to include potentially any medicine, psychology, spiritual techniques, and body work. So herbalism versus homeopathy. Now, homeopathy. I always do that. So homeopathy and herbology actually in some ways kind of contradict each other. There's lots of expertise and some really neat things. I do some homeopathic remedies. Not that I make them. I'm not a homeopath. But I do take them, like when I was having all my bones heal for my upper molars, I did some homeopathy with some bone builders. So homeopathy takes low doses of herbs that closely relate the symptoms that you're having. So if I'm having an upset stomach, they're going to take herbs that actually create those same symptoms in super, super, super minute doses. Whereas in herbalism, if we were looking at an upset stomach, we'd be looking at herbs that will counteract the symptoms that someone is having. So they would produce a different effect and hopefully get rid of the pain that way. So now back to homeopathy. In homeopathy, they believe that the smaller the particle, the more effective it is, because when it gets so small, it can permeate the cells and actually go into the nuclei of the cells and actually help with reprogramming the cells to help to heal the body. So they're going to take a regular tincture that I might make, and they're going to take 1 drop of that and put it in another bottle, and then 1 drop of that and put it in another bottle until it's dropped down so many times that it's minute. And the more it's diluted, the stronger the medicine is in homeopathy. Now, allopathy is what herbalism would be considered. So you've got the homeopathy, and then allopathy would be the herbalism. So the U.S. Cancer Institute is screening all the flowers of plants in the world for anti-tumor activity. So what we're starting to see now is we're starting to have studies that we didn't have before, where our herbology, we're starting to be able to look at the aspects of the plants and why they're working on the remedies with the remedies that we've been using them with. Right now we've just got tons of historical data. And that's why when I get into like herbs and the uses of them, much of that comes from historical documents and transcripts, a lot from the monks and the early church, because the monks in the area, they were charged to take care of both the education and well-being of all the people in their area. So if you got sick, you would go to the monastery and the monks would help. So a lot of the things that we have is actually based in early Christianity. And even before that, then we have the Druids and stuff like that doing a lot of herbalism, a lot of those religions, which we may or may not have tons of documentation on. So we're looking at a long-running history, almost of the history of mankind, where we're using that as our evidence for why these things work. But as science continues to study these things, we are now starting to get the answers that we need scientifically as to why they are working. So the WHO recommends herbalism common to all The WHO recognizes that herbalism is common to all cultures of the world, and so it promotes its development. So it's something that, again, in the Western world, in America, we're a little bit less apt. We're starting to see more and more holistic type healing centers, more and more people turning to naturopaths, chiropractors, more and more people looking to natural medicines like medicinal marijuana and all the other herbs that have, made such a difference in so many people's lives. So we need more testing to be able to prove all these things. That's why I consider all of these videos educational videos. You also have to recognize that every person is different. So I can take an herb and it might work for me and it might not work for someone else. That's why it's so important to have that relationship with that client so that you can work together to find the things that work. There are different levels of screening that are going on. And I'll probably do another video on that and how research is done with herbalism and why we're starting to get more credibility. So, why did I choose to be a naturopath? Because I have those fundamental belief systems. I believe that the body is natural and healthy and whole if we address the whole being, the spiritual, the physical, the emotional, the whole being, our social situations and how we're interacting with people. All of those things are super duper important. And because I see a client as such an integral part of being happy, because what I see as a happy person is not the same as what someone else sees as a happy. It's you need to find what makes you happy, and I need to help you to find what makes you happy, not what I think will make you happy. And that's why naturopathy just really speaks to me, and I decided to do the program to actually become nationally certified so that I would have some credibility to be able to help clients. Not a degree that I have to have, you can practice without it, but it's such a huge responsibility to take care of people and help them with their health and help them to have the best life that they can have. And so I want to continue learning and growing, which is why I'm doing this YouTube channel, so that we can learn and grow together. So look forward to lots of naturopathic type topics and holistic healing type topics that we can all learn together and become better people, because when you're happier and when you feel better about yourself, then the world around you is better. If we all work on ourselves, the world in turn can't help but be a better place. Remember to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Come back to the channel where you can say, Karma's my friend. Bye, y'all.